All right, Rachel.
I don't feel like we're ever going to get off the ground today, but we're going to try.
We're going to do our damnedest.
Yes.
Shall we catch them up on all the things?
Yeah. Well, definitely 100% because that plays into everything. But let's welcome, because I feel like once we start going down the path of giving the update, we're not going to resurface
for quite some time.
for a minute. Because it's also been, we're giving each other the update for like the first time.
Right.
In real time since a month.
I don't know.
Like give or take. So yeah, so we'll just welcome, tell everybody what we're talking about, and maybe we might talk about it.
We're going to be extra cryptic, guys.
No. We don't know. We'll see where this goes.
Yeah.
Welcome to Two Mystic Mamas. It's a little bit of a somber recording. Emlyn had asked me this morning, she's like, are you excited to go record the podcast today? And I said, excited's not the right word. I want to go record the podcast. It's important to me. I said, but where my headspace is at is where my headspace is at. So I'm in a pretty somber, like clear headspace, but not in a bubbly, like, oh, I just love life, blah. You know, I'm not in this, you know.
To be fair, I don't think you're ever in that
I know, that is true. But there are times where I'm like, fucking excited about this episode. Right. I can't wait to talk about it. And like, I'm excited about our episodes that we're talking about, but also life is heavy at the moment. And I feel like it's been heavy for both of us.
I mean, part of the reason that we chose this topic is because we both want to be transparent with our listeners at the same time retaining some personal private matters, but also we all have hard times that we go through. And I think it's really important that people know that when they see us, that we're not just floating through life effortlessly.
No, for sure.
And that this is like, do we put our best foot forward? Do we put our most light self forward on the internet and in our podcast? 100%. Does that encompass fully what we're both going through? Not a fucking chance.
No.
And that's human. It's part of the human experience. And we want to share that with you guys. So today we are talking about making light of it. And that is both physically, figuratively, and what that means for our season of life right now.
Yeah. Lots of metaphors, naturally. And to your point, I think for me too, when you're walking through a season that has more challenges than it has successes, it's still vitally important. And we'll talk a little bit about like finding glimmers, right? Which, you know, it's kind of like the opposite of triggers and what that looks like in real time, in real life, because I'm happy to talk about kind of what's going on in my life, as I think you're pretty open to talking about what took place in yours as well. Because showing up for a project, for a commitment, for something that you believe in, and walking through that season instead of band-aiding it and trying to put on a face or put on a show, I think really is the lesson.
Right.
Because I know that I fell victim to that a lot when I was working in corporate America, which I think is such a fucked up message to send.
100%. But it is a delicate balance because we both know that there's a tipping point as well that you ride when you're like in that space of, okay, what am I allowing in to my life to transform me, right? Versus what am I being like, I can't with this right now, or I can't with that right now. And I think there's a lot of questions for a lot of people on what that even looks like. But corporate America is a great example of a place where you slap a Band-Aid on it and just full force pretend like nothing is going on in order to get to the next thing.
I do think a lot of companies are focusing on changing that and honoring that in people to a degree, because I do think that there is a fine line between people that do a very good job of balancing what's in their personal life and what's in their professional life, and then people that like to bring drama from their personal life into their professional life versus things that happen in your personal life. This is life.
Right. There's some things you cannot control or change or avoid, and they affect you on a deep level.
Yeah. So let's catch up a little bit since the last time we both went on vacations. Mm-hmm. And so you went on your vacation first.
Correct.
So how was it?
It was good. We go to Ocean City every year, and I grew up out there, and it's near and dear to my heart. And we got to visit with family, and that was so soul giving because we have family members out there that we have reconnected with in the past 5 years or so. And that's been so fantastic. And it was also one of those things where, we're relaxing, but at the same time, Charlie worked the whole week. And Evie was working in her own right because she was doing her beach patrol certification.
Yeah.
Which was awesome. But, she's still like 5 hours a day for 4 or 5 days, working hard and doing water rescues and all of these things, which is so cool to watch. But it's not like a all-inclusive vacation where you're going and you're just relaxing. So we had a fantastic time. It's a lot. And when you go to someplace all the time and there's a lot of nostalgia, I feel like there's more places that you just naturally always want to go to. Mm-hmm. So it feels more full than if you're going someplace and you're just kind of exploring for the first time. Mm-hmm. But we had a great time, but we came home and Charlie went straight into 2 weeks of band camp. So it was like 3 weeks of crazy.
And that's A, you're in the heat, and B, that's a lot of energy, like corralling kids coming out of summer. It's like, got to get serious, got to start practicing. You're out in,
they're out the elements for 9-10 hours a day.
Yeah.
Busting their asses.
Yeah.
It's really cool to watch, but also it takes a toll on everybody. Like, it's exhausting.
Well, it's a huge amount of energy.
Right.
On top of everything else too.
Yeah. And he was working his normal 9-to-5 job on top of it. So he was burning the candle at literally every end.
What does his candle look like?
It is a stump.
Well, now it's a stump.
It is a melted
But I feel
stump.
like he looks like a 5-wick candle, all like burning down into a ball.
Yeah.
And you guys also had jellyfish issues.
Yeah, Evie, the one day, it was so crazy because like the first day, it was like totally calm, totally fine. 2 days later, there were rip currents everywhere. They actually had 200 rescues on the beach that day. And Evie was doing water rescues in it. So she was in a simulated water rescue, got sucked into a rip current while she's rescuing somebody. And at the same time got stung 6 times by a jellyfish. And I was watching the whole thing because I was on the beach that day watching her. And I was just like, it's one of those moments as a mom where you just have to sit back and be like, I trust her. I trust the professionals that are around.
Yes.
And watching her like go through that and like not only get herself out of a rip current situation, but get someone else out of a rip current situation while she's getting attacked by jellyfish was like so wild, but so cool.
Yeah.
I mean, she's just a little fucking badass.
Yeah. No, I love that. And that's a lesson that will serve her forever.
And it didn't deter her. That was the thing, is like, that was maybe day 2 of her certification.
Well, it's like she trusts her instincts too. She trusts her ability.
Right.
And that will serve her in so many ways, not, in and out of the water.
Right. But to be able to trust yourself like that.
For sure.
Yeah. That's huge. So it was good. And then right on the heels of our vacation, you went on vacation.
We did. Our good friend also was at the similar beach to you, not too far from you. And they had a similar jellyfish experience. And I was like, that's crazy. I was like, do you know what kind of jellyfish they were? And he's like, I think they were man of war. I was like,
no,
definitely not man of war. Man of war are more worm. Aren't they worm jellyfish?
They are. We've seen one up there one time.
Yeah. But they can kill you.
Usually, there are strains of it, especially in like Australia.
Yes.
That can kill you. They
naturally, I think that's where he was. I was like,
paralyze you.
Yeah. I was like, no. They weren't man of war.
No, these were like normal jellyfish. Have you ever had an encounter with sea lice though?
Also, no.
It's jellyfish larvae.
Oh God.
And we were there a couple of years ago.
Where does that go?
It goes everywhere. And it usually happens when it gets really warm. So we were at the beach a couple of years ago and Evie and I are in the water. Charlie's out. And all of a sudden, Evie and I come flying out of the water, like screaming. And he's like, what is going on? And I just like booked it back to the room, and I stood in a hot shower for as long as I could because the larvae just literally get in your swimsuit and sting you all over. Evie didn't get it as bad because she had a bikini on and I had like a one piece.
The visualization
10 out of 10
that,
do not recommend.
Well, it's not like, I mean, can you see them though?
No, you don't know. You don't know it until it's there because they're like itty bitty tiny little microscopic things.
See, when I think lice, I think hair.
Right. No,
so
that's
then I was
jellyfish
thinking
larva.
Sea lice in my vagina. That would not be fun.
Oh, God.
That's where my head went.
I mean, I guess it could happen if you're. Ugh.
That's why I was like, what? Where do they go? I mean, I think lice. I think hair.
I don't think Walgreens sells a spray for that.
Rachael and Krystyn's sea lice concoction. We did not have jellyfish.
Good.
We were a lot farther south than you, though. We were
but you guys should have had much warmer water than we had. And that's usually what brings them is the warm water.
Well, somebody was saying that there was a bloom. Like there was a jellyfish bloom, which happens, I think, later on in the summer because of the warm.
Well, I know they were dealing with an algae bloom down in Florida that was causing all sorts of like bacterial flesh eating.
They're dealing with an algae bloom in Australia that is killing like a bunch of sea animals. It's being caused by global warming and it's killing a bunch of sea animals, but also can be highly, highly toxic to humans if they get in the water.
If you have like a cut or something.
Yeah. Our beach trip was good. It is with extended family and naturally our children are with us. So really it's not really a vacation. It's just parenting in a different location.
Yes. So we don't call them vacations. We call them trips.
Trips. Yeah. Mm-hmm. We flew down to Myrtle because we got really cheap direct flights out of Pittsburgh down to Myrtle Beach, that's the way to do it. I think it was like $39 one way per person.
Man, that's awesome.
And so we flew and Jeff drove, which he loved because he had peace and quiet and he could listen to whatever he wanted to and stop when he wanted to and not have to listen to, are we there yet? Are we there yet? I have to poop. No, I have to poop right now.
I know you should.
Right now.
You should stop bothering him about poop while he tries, Rachel.
That's me. I'm the one in the car that
like,
yells
Jeffrey,
at him.
I have to poop
right now. I still have not learned that. 42 years old. I can't control when I need to shit. I just want to
get your shit together.
Literally. Get your shit together. So, it's interesting because I've been to a lot of beaches in my lifetime and the commercialized beaches with the boardwalks and the Ferris wheels and the tchotchke shops. And like they have this super famous, it's like 3 floors. It's called the Gay Dolphin. And it just, oh no, it's like, it's a thing. You can look it up. It's run by 2 gay men and it's been there forever. But Graham was all about, he's like, the Gay Dolphin? Oh, and I was like, yeah, it's like 3 floors worth of just tchotchke stuff, like beach tchotchke things. You know what I mean? And we stayed in a high rise, which was beautiful. My parents have a timeshare. It's just not my kind of beach.
Right.
If I'm being completely honest, which by the way, Kylie Kelsey, that's the name of her podcast. If I'm being honest, which I love because I feel like we all need to be honest with ourselves and with the world. So for me, it's too commercial. It's too much going on. Too much energy, too many other people's energy.
I found it really interesting. You were talking, when we had a meeting the other day, you were talking about the commercialization of it and the homelessness and the drugs, which I found really interesting because Ocean City, Maryland is commercialized for sure.
Oh, that's another commercial beach. Mm-hmm.
There's not any of the homeless or the drug issues there. Like
Myrtle's had an issue with it for a while.
Interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, you don't see that in Ocean City. Like you see that in Myrtle Beach.
No, I saw like people in the middle of the day tweaking out.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Now, not right on the boardwalk, but you would walk 1 or 2 blocks off the beach, like from our hotel.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a little wild, but I don't love Myrtle. I liked being together with my family.
Have you guys been to Hilton Head? I would recommend.
The only time we drove through Hilton Head on the way to your wedding.
Oh, yeah.
Because you had to drive through all of those places to get to Corolla.
I've been to Hilton Head a couple of times and I really loved it.
So we just drove through it. I've never.
Yeah. It's not commercialized. It's so fantastic.
Yeah. Well, that's like Sandbridge.
I've only ever been to Myrtle once, though.
Sandbridge, Virginia is my jam.
I haven't been, but I've heard great things.
Yeah. It's like Corolla, because like where Corolla, North Carolina is, and Sandbridge, Virginia, they're like back to back.
Right.
They're just separated by the state line.
The state line.
Yeah. So yeah, vacation was good. And then we came back and we prepped to get together to record. And we've talked about the fact that Krystyn is highly, highly allergic to bees,
wasps,
and
venomous bastards.
The story, because even Isla the other day was like, was she in her garden? Was she in her garden?
I wasn't in my garden.
Or she was like, was she in her garden or was she taking a walk on the trail? And I was like, both of those would have been
I love her.
Highly accurate guesses as to how Krystyn got stung.
I mean, time and time again, it serves. I'm always so cautious, right? I don't keep anything flowering near the house, anything near the entrances. I really try to minimize my exposure to bees.
Yep.
And our garden is on the other side of the house, away from the entrances. We have had a lot of bees out there this year, which has been fantastic. But I also know that
you're not a bee hater.
No, I also know that I need to either go out early in the morning or late at night, and that way I'm not
exposed to
the bees. So none of that was the case. However, I was.
Are you going to blame Shane?
I'm not going to blame Shane. Of course, I'm not going to blame Shane.
Blame Shane.
Blame Shane.
Blame Shane. Blame Shane.
But I was shopping for a gift for him, and there's a store I've been wanting to go to forever. It's a brand new, really amazing store here in Pittsburgh called the Domestic Witch. There were a little bit of love here, and they're open on the weekends. So I was like, perfect. Saturday, I'm going in. We had plans to actually go to Shane's for his birthday bonfire. And well, they were doing like a thing at a lounge. And so I'm like, cool, I'm going to run out. I'm going to get this gift. And then we're all going to go. So I just went out by myself. We were all supposed to go together, but these two, they weren't ready. So, and it's such a cool little shop, and it's 2 levels. So I had already talked to the owner, and like we had connected. We talked about podcast things, all this stuff. And I went upstairs and I was like fully dressed, ready for the party. Like I had a dress on. I was like hair done, all the things. And I'm standing upstairs and she has like a bunch of really cool vintage clothes. You'll like it up there. And I felt it on my arm. And I looked down and it was on my dress. And I was like, fuck. And so I was like, all right, this is great. So I was like swatting it away, obviously. And I went downstairs. And by the time I got downstairs, I was already starting to close up. And I looked at her and I was like, I'm so sorry. I have to go. And I already bought him a card. Well, I hadn't purchased it yet, actually. It was like sitting at the register. And I like pull out my EpiPen and I stab myself in the middle of her store while people are walking in the store. She's like, what's happening? Like, I felt so terrible. And she's like, do I call 911? Can I drive you? And I'm like, I just have to go. Like, I can't wait. Like, I just have to go because I knew I was like less than 10 minutes from the emergency room. So I drove myself there and I called Charlie and Evie on the way, which then caused a mayhem here because Charlie was in the shower and he's like, hey, beautiful, what's up? And I was like, I got stung.
Oh, God.
So he's in the shower. So he's like, Evie, we have to go. Mommy's going to the hospital. And so Evie like starts to freak out. And I was like trying to talk to her, but at the same time, my throat is starting to close up. So I'm like not really speaking very well. So I'm trying to be like, hey, it's fine. I'm okay. And she just starts screaming. She's like, shut up, Mom, just shut up.
Oh,
she
man.
did not want to hear at all that I was going to be okay. She just wanted to get dressed. And then she slipped in the water on the floor because Charlie got out of the shower and twisted her ankle. And it was just like, you know.
As things, it's a domino effect a little bit. Yeah,
it is. And so
making light of it, you have to take things seriously. But on the flip side of that, that's a good lesson for her moving forward, that in those types of situations, remaining calm.
Right.
And like, I'm a firm believer in you don't know what you don't know until you know it. So you don't know how you're going to experience something until you're in that situation and you're walking it.
Because the last time I got stung, she was in a crib.
Oh, yeah. She has no recollection of that.
No recollection of that. And, you know, Charlie and I weren't together.
No.
So I was single momming it by myself. And so it was a very different experience at that point too.
Yeah.
But all this to say, I did go into anaphylactic shock and was,
Happy birthday, Shane.
Very thankful to all of the emergency doctors and nurses and everything. Like they were really so wonderful. And I'm just happy that I survived. But it did.
You are surviving, but you're not thriving.
I'm not thriving. No, it did push me into, I'm like, 11 days out. And they put me on a very high dose course of steroids for 6 days prior that has tailspin my body that I feel like I'm post right after all this.
Right.
I mean, they pushed me full of a cocktail of keep Krystyn alive while I was in there. But the course of steroids afterwards I've never had a reaction like this in my body. I have been on fire and numb at the same time and, cognitively really struggling. So this is my first day being what I would consider partially human. I've actually been able to.
What did you say earlier that
have a conversation?
You feel like you're on an acid trip that you didn't ask to be on?
Yep. 100%. I feel like I've been on an 11-day acid trip I did not ask to go on and I can't fucking get off.
That's not cool.
It's not cool. And I mean, I've been talking to doctors and nurses and pharmacists and,
So what would you say making light of the situation, but still keeping in check the seriousness of handling a medical emergency would you offer someone to whatever their situation is?
I mean, the biggest thing is to allow yourself to be where you're at. For someone who pushes through every obstacle in her life at sometimes an alarming rate, I cannot push through this. I mean, I hit a wall that was terrifying this weekend where I was like, what if I'm just fucking stuck like this? Like, I felt so out of myself and not who I normally am. And I would just say to allow yourself to be where you're at. Like one minute, if you're fine and you need rest, then you rest. And the next minute, like if you can do something, then do it. But
Charlie and we were having a little bit of a side conversation.
Yeah.
Because I was texting him instead of texting you just to take a little bit off your plate, right?
Right. The overwhelm is very real right now.
Yeah. Because it's one of those things that when you have a medical emergency that happens that comes out of nowhere and it derails everything, it's very easy to let the anxiety and the ego part of how we structure our lives creep in. And we start putting that pressure back on ourselves, even though the lesson is, oh, you need to rest.
Well, and for me, it wasn't even like I'm not being productive. It was like I can barely hold my head on my shoulders.
Well, you physically
physically feel like I am barely fucking living right now.
Yes.
It was
wild.
So wild.
Because it's so interesting because prior to that, you had the concussion thing.
Right. I mean, I've had a weird year for sure. Like,
yeah, it's like
it's been a weird year, but
so what are some of the glimmers?
Well, here's the thing.
Okay.
And this is something I want to talk about within this episode is that this is kind of like a physical shadow work that we don't expect when something like this happens. And I think that shadow work doesn't have to be so hard. I think that it can be lighter than what we anticipate it to have to be. It doesn't have to be so aggressive. It doesn't have to feel so heavy.
I have a hard time with shadow work and associating it with shame. It's funny that you should say that. No, not Shane. Shame. There's a letter difference there, bud. I have a shadow work workbook, and I've had a reoccurring piece of feedback that has come from some of the closest people in my inner circle when it comes to how I react to situations. And that is some shadow work that I have been leaning into. And when I say the shame part of it, and also in regards to this episode of making light of it, there's this really interesting thing of like making light of it in the sense that keep things light and airy and open, but not not taking them seriously. There's still a serious element to things that you're walking through and lessons that you're learning, but you don't have to necessarily hold. Like, I just associate when people give me feedback that I immediately am like, you're not good enough. Why do you do this?
Right.
Why can't you learn? Why can't you be a kinder person? And I start going down that path. And it's like, no, we're going to redirect this. Let's explore why I get so defensive. Let's explore why I feel the need to be heard or validated. And that's on me. That's not on anybody else. But it's really great that I have people in my corner that feel comfortable to say, this could be an area you could work on.
Well, and that's the thing with shadow work too, is like, to your point, like, yes, we're always working on something, but we can bring curiosity and compassion and sometimes even humor into it to illuminate those like dusty cobweb areas, whether it's physically, emotionally, mentally, that we're all going through.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that if I'm going to take anything away from what happened, is that there's ways that we can reframe what's happening, because again, it's all perspective, right?
Sure, totally.
So my perspective in that moment of what was going on is completely different than my perspective of my daughter, who is terrified that she's going to lose her mom,
mm-hmm.
or my husband, who is terrified that he's going to lose his wife, or the ER doctor that is like, I've had 10 anaphylactic patients today. She's going to be fine, right? Whatever it is, like, it's all perspective.
It is.
And so I just want to share some tips on reframing some of these hard, shadowy moments of our life.
Love it.
So, number one, and I think that this could be beneficial for you, Rachel, when you were talking about what you were just sharing with like being so hard on yourself, right? And that is, name your inner critic or your intrusive thoughts. If you give them a name, right? You're like, God, shut up, Nancy, right? Like, that bitch just wasn't fucking shut up. Whatever it is, you give them a name, and then it's almost like you can have a conversation with that part of yourself rather than thinking, God, this is me. This is bad. This is a bad part of who I am. And so that would be one tip to reframe. I think another one would be visualizing your fear or your limiting belief in a funny way. So if you can visualize it, you know how they tell you when you get up on stage and you're like to visualize everybody naked?
Yeah.
Kind of the same thing. But if you can visualize that in like a cartoony way, or like, oh, here's this shadowy piece of my personality, but it's really this like raccoon that's just always over here eating stale donuts out of somebody's trash. Like,
love it. Okay.
Nancy, you know, then like give it a story, right? It doesn't have to just be like this doom and gloom part of ourselves.
For sure.
And then this one I really like. So give yourself the 5-year-old test. So imagine that this shadowy self of your personality or whatever, your behaviors, as a small child is throwing a temper tantrum.
Mm-hmm.
Now, instead of yelling back at them, which we know what happens when you yell at a toddler that's having a tantrum, nothing good. Or you can scoop them up and you can hand them an ice cream cone and you can just tell them that they're safe. So if we visualize that in our own minds, we're like, it's okay. Like, we don't have to beat ourselves up.
No. And I think hugging yourself, like,
right.
Literally hugging yourself and giving yourself an ice cream cone and saying out loud, you're safe, I think is such an important exercise. Because, you know, It's funny you should say that, because I have a 5-year-old and there are moments when parenting her where, you know, naturally I find myself yelling, and then, you know, Emmeline will do the same thing because she's mirroring what I'm doing. So it's like, okay, we have to redirect the sails here. You can get it to go in a different direction. Not always. Sometimes they're a little crazy, as we all are.
But it's how we approach it.
it. Yeah, for sure. It's always going back to that inner child.
It is. And, you know, I always think about this. Charlie has such a unique way of approaching teaching that I feel like there's so many lessons that we can take from that on like a daily like circumstance, you know, And I just watch and I'm like, man, how does his brain work that way? Just automatically. Like he just automatically knows what to do and how to do it.
Well, he's like a chameleon.
What he needs
Yeah.
in that moment. And it's also why I think he was absolutely so fantastic when he was working in an autistic classroom.
Yeah.
Like he was just able to connect with people on a different level. And it's like intuitively within him.
Right.
It's I wish I could bottle that.
And there are people that are just unbelievably gifted at doing that. And then there are people that are not unbelievably gifted, right? And you have that, they may have the scholastic studies and the degrees to show for it, but then in action, you're like, nope, it
all comes back to ego.
This is not your calling.
I think it all comes back to ego.
For sure.
Like when you're in your head, like it changes everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the other part of this episode that really is making light of it is talking about light itself, talking about the sun and the sky. And physically, yes, what does it do for us as humans? And how does it, help us physically thrive? But also metaphorically, what does it stand for? The symbolism behind it. I don't want to say a fact that is fucked up and wrong, but I'm pretty sure the Earth rotates around the sun. Is that a correct fact? Okay, good. All right. We're just going to bounce that off. Because we all know what happens. I'm not going to say it out loud, but
I did write something down that apparently the sun hums. I didn't know that the scientists have recorded like a very low frequency sound wave that comes from the sun, not perceptible to us.
Thank God. If the sun was close enough that we could hear it humming, I'd say we're fucked at that point.
That's what I felt like for the last 11 days. The sun was humming.
God, it's almost like I wish you could describe it in better detail about what
I can't even
put words.
I've tried so hard to try and figure out how to explain it to Charlie even, and I'm like, I can't. I just feel like I'm on this crazy ass acid trip.
Yeah,
some wild ass roller coaster. And then it gives you like a whole, I don't know what it's like to be like a drug addict, right? But it does give you pause for reflection. It's like, man, I cannot imagine living my life like this. Like people that live in this state, like
there are people that have done acid and they're just on a permanent acid trip.
Right. I think that was like a big thing in the 70s was that like people were staying stuck in that space.
Right. Yeah. It would be fucking wild. Especially because like you have this like disconnect between your brain and your body.
Right. But it's all, you feel all of it at the same time.
Right.
I can't even imagine.
No.
Have you ever watched those videos? There's a guy that does videos on, I've seen them on Facebook, but I'm sure they're on many platforms. The Soft White Underbelly.
Yes, he interviews people.
He interviews a lot of addicts.
A lot.
And
his studio is off Skid Row.
Skid Row, yeah.
Yes, I've watched him.
Those stories.
They're wild because you have all different types of addicts, and he does such a good job of humanizing them and highlighting them and honoring them in a real way, but being truthful about the struggle of what goes into it. Yeah, he's fascinating.
I do have a ritual, like a guided ritual that I'm going to run everybody through at the end whenever we're ready for light. So,
yeah, I mean, I think making light of the whole topic around this is applicable to your everyday life. And it's one of those lessons that we're talking about because it's commonplace. Like it happens all the time. I know for me personally that if I don't stop to reflect when these things start to happen, then I think making light of situations sometimes is a great exercise because life, this human experience, is short. And I was just listening to something that was like, if you don't see a situation impacting you in 5 years, don't spend more than 5 minutes wasting your energy on it.
Right.
And I thought that was really interesting because it's easy to get caught up sometimes.
And it doesn't mean your feelings aren't valid in the moment either.
Right.
But you don't have to give it so much space either. Like
exactly.
You get to choose.
Right. And just having that awareness, I think, is really what I'm trying to get at. Like having that awareness that when something comes up that feels heavy, not that it's not heavy, but like bringing humor to it.
Right. Being at that space that you're talking about too, you know, something that I often do. Now, some people are journalers, some people are, you know, avoiders. I mean, there's all sorts of ways that you can deal with shadow work. But I would say set yourself like a 10-minute timer and have a conversation, whether it's in the mirror, whether it's writing something down, or this is a big one that I do all the time, and that's voice memos. Especially if I'm in the moment and I'm feeling something, I will start a voice memo and remind myself, I'm like, this is where you're at. This is how you're feeling. This is why you're feeling this way, you know, and it's really good for me to just get it out, have the conversation with myself. And if it's something I really want to remember, I will go in and change the title. It's like, do not delete, go back and listen to this if ...
Mm-hmm.
And it makes a huge difference in allowing yourself to process whatever you're feeling in the moment.
Right. You know, I can apply this a lot in the past, you know, especially like when I was working for a remote company and like email was the main form of communication. It's interesting because that's another place that you can make light of it, right? Like if you get a scathing email, but you're in a certain headspace, and you've heard this before, but take that time to make light of it, make space, get whatever you want to get out, and just save it in draft.
Yeah.
Like don't send it right away.
Maybe not save it in draft, just save it on the side somewhere so you don't accidentally
put it in your personal email or go to notes. You know, notes is another great place, to your point about doing voice memos, even like get whatever it is out of your body, you know, and then revisit it and give it that space.
You can print it and burn it too.
Yeah. And then go back and be like, you know, I wouldn't want to be on the receiving end of this. Like, what is that person trying? Like, what are they trying to coalesce? What are they trying to gather from me?
We're always like trying to,
because it's that push
position ourselves to be heard. And I think that's what a lot of it is. Like when people are not feeling heard, then they're like, no, listen. Like you have to listen more, right?
We all have friends where it's like, okay, you've done enough talking. Can you just...
Right. And not even like, I mean, I'm sure you've been in like in a random space where people just want to be heard. And you're like, I'm listening.
Oh.
And you know,
in Peters Township? No, that never happens.
But this happened to us recently, and we were in a van with a bunch of strangers, and the woman next to me, naturally. Yeah, that's weekend fun times in a van down by the river with a bunch of strangers.
Okay, Chris Farley.
Yes. All accurate statements, by the way. But the woman that was sitting next to me just wanted somebody to listen. She was telling me all of the things. I'm telling you, we were in this van for 10 minutes. And you can ask Charlie and Evie. They're just still sitting there like, of course, Krystyn's having this conversation.
They're like, who's the empath in the... Oh, you are. That's it. I'm sitting right next to you.
You're there, and she's going to validate me.
Yep, that's right.
But in that moment, that woman just wanted somebody to listen to her. I can be that for you. And I can also dust off my energy and get out of the van and leave it where it's
and
at.
Be like, sayonara. Good luck.
Right. I wish you well.
I know. I attract those all the time.
I just want to heal everybody. Like, not that I feel like I have the capability to heal everybody, but like when you're with somebody and you can feel them hurting and you just want to like take their pain from them. You can't.
No. I mean, you can, but you can share your light. You need to be able to let it go.
Right.
That's a tactic that I now have under my belt. So I feel way more comfortable if someone leeches onto me without necessarily asking my permission, but I'm like, fuck, here we are. Okay, great. I'm going to let that go. I'm going to cut cords with that right after it ends and wish them well. Right. But yeah, that's part of being an energy healer, which you 100% are. Yeah, for sure.
Acquired through the years to be able to learn how to separate that.
Which has been so helpful. Helpful because I didn't. And so I would just carry around the weight. Mm-hmm. And even in the collective right now, that's why the news, that is not my shit. I do not have the news on for a very specific reason. It's not because I don't want to be informed of what's going on in the world, but I'd much rather read it on BBC or on a news outlet, then watch anything.
I know Alexa asked me yesterday, she's like, do you want to be updated with breaking news? And I was like, nope,
no,
sure don't.
Sure don't. I will absorb that. And I didn't know that for so long, but especially with some of the life events that have happened throughout our lifetime, it makes so much sense when I looked back on it as to why I was so impacted by it, because I was glued and I was just absorbing all that energy and I didn't have any way of protecting myself, letting go of it. So it just sat in me, which we'll save what happened with me recently for the next podcast episode. I had an amazing conversation with a very dear friend of mine yesterday, and she was helping me to let go of some of the things that have been happening recently that I think have been holding on to internally since the last time it happened. It was an interesting place to be because I don't usually get that vulnerable. I get vulnerable with a lot of people, but that, I was in a different space.
Yeah.
Again, we'll wrap this up, but we can save that for the next.
We're going to send you away with some light.
Okay.
Close your eyes if you can, or just soften your gaze. And I want you to imagine that you're sitting in your favorite fall spot. Maybe you are wrapped up in a blanket. You have a warm, cozy drink in your hand. Or you're just surrounded by the glow of candles or the perfect sunset. Take a deep breath in through your nose and imagine that you're breathing in pure golden light. Feels like the first warm ray of sun after a storm. And as you exhale, imagine that golden light spills down your shoulders, into your chest, filling every corner of your body. Inhale, the light grows brighter and warmer within you. And with each exhale, it expands beyond you, forming a gentle glow around your whole body. And I want you to think of one area of your life that feels shadowy, heavy, or stuck right now. And picture that golden light swirling towards it, softening it, warming it, making it easier for you to hold. You might see the heaviness change colors or break apart like clouds, or turn into glittery dust. Just let your imagination take over here. Place your hands over your heart, and you can say quietly or out loud, I carry this light with me. Take one final deep breath in and imagine locking that warmth inside of your chest. When you're ready, open your eyes and know that light is yours to return to anytime you need it.
And so it is. That was beautiful.
Thank you. Go, little lanterns. Roam. Share your light.
Oh, that makes me think of setting Chinese lanterns.
Oh, I don't know if we're going to go. I really want to go. There's a water lantern festival in Pittsburgh coming up.
Oh, yeah.
I think it's the 23rd, maybe.
I've heard about those.
We're looking at it.
That's beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I love that. That's the balance, too, of the light and the dark.
We love you guys so much. Thank you for allowing us be here, be vulnerable, share our lives with you and our lived experience as always, as we can bring it to you and hopefully help you alchemize something in your own life that has been feeling heavy, that needs a little bit of light.
For sure. And if you're listening to this podcast on Spotify or Apple or whatever podcast platform, do know that we have these on YouTube, on our YouTube channel. And we would love and be grateful if you could give us a follow, subscribe to our channel, and like and comment. As Shane has told us, it's all about the shorts and the clicks. If you can click on our shorts, give us some follow, send us to some friends that you might know. The organic growth is where it's at. Yeah. We want to grow organically, and we can do that through the support of our listeners. So to Krystyn's point, we are grateful for you. We do channel energy and send it out to the collective, which you are a part of. And so if there's something specific that you would like us to talk about in this frame of topics, write into us, let us know, and we're very responsive.
We are.
All right, we love you.
Love you. Thank you guys so much.
Mwah.
Bye.
Bye.